Module 4, Etymological Annotation. I must say, this is an entirely new concept, just introduced 1 year back as a part of my own research on language scholarship. So, here I will be talking something unique, something new, which has never been addressed anywhere with regard to corpus annotation, corpus text processing, or English learning. In this module, I argue that the process of etymological annotation is very important in corpus annotation because it helps to identify the source of words and what kind of morphophonemic changes those words have undergone in the text, as well as it helps us to identify the mother tongue from where those words are actually obtained and used in the text. So, in this module, we will discuss the issue of vocabulary classification, different types of vocabulary or words available in a language or in a corpus, then define the etymological annotation tax set, the process of etymological annotation, and some findings from the etymological tagged corpus and its importance. If we look at the vocabulary of any language in vain across the world, until and unless those languages are mostly isolated, removed, or have no contact with other languages, perhaps no live languages in the reliquary, we can find out that they are more or less untouched, pure languages, because not much impact of the neighboring language could be observed. If you look any other languages that are being used in most all the parts, you can find out that the whole vocabulary, that old word list, can be grouped into two types. One is the original stock of the language, and second one is the collection which has been borrowed from other languages. So, our argument is that language word lists of a language can be broadly classified into two types. One is originally belonging to its mother source or a native source. Others stock are borrowed from outside. The best example is English. You can find out a large chunk of words used in English are actually not the properties of English, rather the properties of other languages. If this is so, then in a corpus we need to know what kind of words are borrowed and incorporated to the language, and what are those originally stock. In my argument, that if we run the etymological annotation scheme on a corpus data, you will automatically or definitely find out which words are its original words, which words are borrowed, which words have undergone changes over centuries, over the time, which has combined with the native stocks, and the new vocabulary has been generated. The point is that, suppose if you look at the Bangla language, you can find out that most of the Indian languages, rather not Bangla, can have a lot of words borrowed from other languages, though both native and foreign stock. So, etymological annotation will mark out those languages or words which have come from its native source or mother source, and those words which have come from other sources. So, mother source and other source. But before that, for that we need a scheme of we call vocabulary classification. This is an important part of etymological annotation because we need to identify the the stocks of the words in a language. So, for us, we have identified we applied this scheme on a Bangla written corpus, And before that, we had identified three types of stocks of words in the Bangla. One is called native stock. This stock includes the mother language for Bangla here, the words which are Sanskrit words coming from Tatsama words, Tadbhava words and Desi words are put into the, and as well as from the regional dialects which has been collected, are put into the broad scheme of native stock, native vocabulary. This includes, I am giving some examples, some native Bangla words, say Rasta, Ghar, or Tatsama words, Oksi, Agni, or Tadbhava words like Az or Art, or indigenous words like Bingi, Jhol, Dheki, or something like that. So these words actually fall in the category of native stock. Then we have got another category which is called national stock. That includes words which has been borrowed or taken into Bangla from its neighboring languages like Urdu, Hindi, Punjabi, Marathi, Tamil, Telugu, Odia and others. So here for Bangla we can give some examples that Hindi word Kamai and Lagatar are two very frequently used Hindi terms or words which come into Bangla. Or for Tamil, Churut and Koka, for Santali, Kurat and Bida are some of the examples which you can cite here, which are actually belonging to the native stock of the vocabulary. Finally, we have got another stock which we call the foreign stock. This includes all the words which are taken from outside languages, the major chunk for Bangla being English, Arabic and Persians. So we can here given some examples of words which we have put them into the foreign word list. Say appeal and apple from English, arzi and kissa for Arabic, kharid and chamach from Persian, almari and chabi from Portuguese, zar and nazi from German, atel and ballet from French, harten and ruiten from Dutch, comrade and armada from Spanish, company and gazette from Italian, Sputnik and glasnost from Russian, or kangaroo from Australian, or harakiri, haiku from Japan, cha, chini from Chinese, ghugni, lungi from Burmese, yak, lama from Tibetan, quinian from Peruvian, zebra or vuvuzela from African. Then we also have some hybrid words where two words are combined together from English, one from English part and from native part, like say slave hin, without slave, or osteography, art of kissing. Or we have also some words from unknown origin. So in the foreign stock we can keep a large number of words. So broadly at the initial stage what we did, we classified those words into three broad types, that is native stock, national stock and foreign stock. The second stage was defining the annotation tax set. That is a very, since it's the first work of its kind, we have to be very much careful to identify the tag set to be used for etymological annotation. What we did, we simply collected the languages, most of the languages, from where we have a chance to borrow. So normally I didn't try to include those African languages where from we have a chance to borrow. No chance rather, until unless there is a close change and a lot of interchanges or exchange of ideas and concepts and good established relationships. So it is not like that. So not perhaps also that we don't try to borrow or include the languages spoken in Mongolia or some other parts. What I emphasize here is that we first identified those languages wherefrom we have borrowed. At the same time, there is a little possibility to get a word in some point of time of history or in future.
So this list would vary from language to language. For English, the list would be quite large, obviously, because English is a language which has borrowed from many languages, literally from New European languages, from African languages, from American languages, from Indian languages, from some Asian languages, from Australian languages, and many other parts. So here we have made a list of, say, 30 languages where we assume that Bangla might have either have borrowed or might have a chance to borrow. So these are given, each language given a specific ID code. Say African languages, we have given us ID like AFR, that stands for African languages. In cases of Arabic language, we have got ARB. So it's a 3-character string which is assigned for each of the language, and each tag, each code for the language is unique one, absolutely unique one, because the use of this particular code clearly indicates that this belongs to a particular language. So there are 30 different languages, in fact 20 languages, and one has been kept as unknown. So for those words it can be used where their etymology or source is not known. So in our list it is African, Arabic, Assamese, Australian, all are arranged in alphabetical order: Bangla, Burmese, Chinese, then dialect, Dutch, English, French, German, Hindi, hybrid, Italian, Japanese, native, Odia, Persian, Peruvian, Portuguese, Russian, Santali, Spanish, Tadbhava, Tamil, Tatsamo, Telugu, Tibetan, and unknown. So we have got a list of nearly 30 words. It can be further extended because I have not included the Malayalam, but it should be included there. So it can be extended, that I have already said, but initially we include the 30 different languages and specific tags. So the most important part of here is that you have to identify the language where from the data can be collected, and you have to identify unique code where from for which can identify the language. Once this part is done, we can identify the language or identify the mark or the tag assigned to the words. There are some important issues important to it. It is noted many languages, many words taken from other languages have undergone so change that it appears to be a word of another origin. Let me give you an example. That if, say, the word, Hindi word Mahina. So Hindi word Mahina is basically refers to month. So if I come across a word like Maine in English, Bangla, it actually refers to the salary at the end of the month you get. So in Hindi, it's actually this word has come from Persian word Mahiyana, that means month. Now the question is how it should be tagged. It should be tagged as a Persian or a Hindi or a Bangla word. So those people who do not know its original origin, so they can say that this is a Bangla word. Or though has some knowledge about its immediate precedent, then it can say that it is taken from Hindi Mahina. So you can put a Hindi tag here. But those who are more informed, they can say that actually this is a Persian word, so better tag it's a Persian word. So we are yet to come to a common consensus how the word should be tagged. So my suggestion here is that I can put triple tags: Persian underscore Hindi underscore Bangla. So that this has certain advantages. First thing, the last one is the final state of the language of this word. So this tag actually carries information that it was originally a Persian word, then it has come to a Hindi, then it has become a Bangla word, my name. So I can have, so this actually provides you the full stage of information about the word and the changes of different stages. So our argument that it should be tagged in such a way that all three information it is captured into that. So it is always better to have three language tags on a word. So here I think it would be better to put that. There is another issue, very important issue. We have found there are many examples in Bangla text where one English word and one Bangla suffix are combined together and generates a new word. So first part is English, second part is Bangla. Or the same thing also happens that first part is Bangla, second part is English, but used in Bangla text corpus as a Bangla word. So what to do with it? Suppose I am giving you some examples, like say cinema core. What do you find? That the first part is cinema and second part is core. So first part is an English word, second part is a Bengali. So how should I tag it? Should I tag it as an English word? Should I tag it as a Bangla word? If I tag it as an English word, then I am actually missing information that core is a Bangla suffix part. But if I do it only Bangla word, then I also miss that the first part is actually an English word. Similar other examples, say class ghar, note boi, board data. So if you look at those examples, then you can find out very clearly that first part is actually an English word, second part is a Bangla word. So in those cases also, my simple suggestion is that in those combinations of compounds, we should have double tags, English underscore Bangla or Bangla underscore English, as the case may be. This will give us a clear example, clear instance, clear proof that one part of the word actually comes from English and the other part actually comes from Bangla, and both of them combine together to generate a new word which is now used in Bangla corpus. That has been quite handy for us while we applied this strategy for the Bangla corpus. We will come across that. Now, the process of etymological annotation. What are the strategies we followed for tagging, annotating the? I can give an example here. If you look at the text given in figure number 1, there is a full-fledged Bangla text having more than 10 brief sentences and the meaning of the sentences, and the next part of this shows how the entire text is annotated at the etymological level. So this is sample only taken from the Bangla corpus. We are not giving the full details of it, but this somehow gives you some idea how a particular text can be annotated at the etymological level. So it is better to follow to describe the steps which you have followed to annotate the text. So there are 8 different steps that we have followed to annotate the text. Step 1 was preparation of a machine readable dictionary with etymological information for each word of a language. So first we had to digitize the dictionary of lexical list of words to which class they belong. So we had a words with the mark of their origin in the list. This was a machine readable form that was kept as a knowledge or separate lexical database, training database to be used on the corpus. Then integration of this MRD with the etymological annotation scheme. So we have used that particular information with the tool or the system which you are working. So MRED actually machine readable etymological dictionary that has been used as a ready existing knowledge base for the task. Stage 3rd was run the entire etymological annotation scheme or program on a normalized Bangla text corpus. Then the system encounters words in a corpus. First, matches the word with the lexical stocks already developed in the machine readable etymological dictionary. Then extract the etymological information from the machine readable MRED already developed. Then annotates the word in the corpus with that relevant particular etymological information, and generates the annotated output. Thus, following those 7-8 different stages, our strategy could, our system could generate a text which is etymologically annotated. So we get three different outputs in this annotation. That some words are absolutely rightly annotated without any problem because they have, though the machine-readable etymological dictionary has given sufficient support or knowledge base to the system to identify the words accurately. Some words are wrongly tagged. Some, not much, but some few words, a few words have been wrongly tagged because of the structure, that because of the doubts what could happen to them in the lexical database. So we have come across, and we have also confusions whether two words belong. Particularly, I can give you an example. Say the word Jama was confused whether it is a Persian word or it is an Arabic word. Third one is that there are some words which could not be identified to which class it belongs. So there are words not included in the etymological database list. So it becomes very difficult for the system to identify these words. So those words are left unmarked. So there are three types of outputs are generated from the etymological annotation, and further modifications of our existing knowledge database can make it a more robust, and ultimately we can retrieve accurate information about the etymology of the words. Now, for our initial study, we tagged words at etymology level as modern Bangla prose newspaper text with 1 lakh of words. So what was the output of that? That's very interesting outputs. I can refer to the table, that out of those there are nearly 10,000 words are coming from the Sanskrit. So in the newspaper text, we found that there are nearly 10,000 words which are actually coming from Sanskrit origin. So it stands around, say, 10%. Then original Bangla words was around 40,000. So native stock of the original Bangla stock was around 40%, 40,000. So whole figures are synchronous, leveled into round figures. Then Tadbhava words 20,000. English words were around 15,000. Arabic words about 7,000, Persians about 6,000 words, and other words around 2,000 words. So you find it a well distributions of the words coming of different origin. It clearly shows that in the Bangla text corpus, newspaper text corpus, 40% words are actually coming from Bangla and 20% are coming from Tadbhava source. So 60% are of native source, and also 30%, 10% words are coming from Tatsama words. So nearly 70% of the vocabulary of Bangla actually belongs to native stock. So this is one experimental study which we carried out with etymologically annotated text corpus to find out what kind of word distributions is there, distribution of words of different etymology. So this is interesting findings. Perhaps in English also we can do, or in other Indian languages also, to find out what kind of words are there in the vocabulary and how they are even distributed. And if further possible, you can also identify if that kind of distribution of words which is noticed in cases of newspaper text is also available. Same kind of distribution is found in informative text or scientific text or literary text or others. Also, we can carry out same kind of study on speech to find out if in our regular day-to-day regular vocabulary, what kind of English words, how many English words, how many words of different origin are actually included into it. So this is an interesting area of research which can give us some ideas to know how words are used, words of different origin are actually used in a language, and in a context when people say that our entity, our linguistic identity or our linguistic entity is at threat because of the invasion of English and other languages, perhaps this kind of study can give us some quantitative findings or statistical background to realize the truth about the present state of the language. Thank you.